Welcome to One, a podcast that gives several perspectives from a few married couples on different subjects every week. I'm your host, J.R. Glymph, joined by all my wonderful co-hosts, my wife, Ladine, my Defy Life brethren, Alvin Glymph, his wife, Gina, and my other Defy Life brethren, Thomas Stevens, and his wife, Chiquita. Lay, welcome, babe, and I am excited for you as it's your show as a podcast host.
It is. I'm excited. Hi.
Hey, Al, what's good?
Chilling, brother. Doing good. Feel good. So glad to be here.
No doubt, no doubt. Gina, welcome. And again, this is your first show as a host as well.
It's my first. So excited. Let's get it.
We promise it won't hurt long. Thomas.
What's good, brother? Happy to be here.
No doubt. As always, man, good to hear you. And Chiquita, welcome.
Same here. Welcome.
No doubt, no doubt. We are officially a team now. Everybody out there in the Defy Life family, all of our listeners, old and new, welcome to One Eye Shut, where we are three married couples and we give our perspectives on random topics. You're going to hear us talk about things as a group. Sometimes two of us, sometimes one couple, sometimes with guests, sometimes with just the husbands, sometimes with just the wives. Hell, you may even hear our kids show up. We don't know what's going to happen on here. We just know we're going to give y'all some real talk about some real subjects. So welcome to One Eye Shut. We are excited for this thing. Kind of been in the works for a while, and we finally got it rolling. So let's get to it. This week, we will, first we just want to go through each of us individually and just kind of give a quick background on yourself, a brief bio. And after that, we will go through each couple and everyone tells their story from when they met to where they are now, and just kind of get a story of us. So first off, I'm going to pick on you first, Lay. Just tell everybody about yourself a little bit and so they can get to know your voice and your background.
Okay. Well, this is going to be great. My name is Ladine Glymph. I'm 38. I've been married to my husband, JR, for 9 years. And let me see, where am I from? I am a New Puerto Rican. Yes. So my views might be a little bit different sometimes, y'all. All right.
You're not just a New York Puerto Rican, but a Puerto Rican from the Bronx. That's a little
right.
different.
Yeah.
So that's right. You know. So I think we're gonna have some fun. I think this is. But yeah. We have two children. I'm a doTERRA wellness advocate. I also work a full-time job, and yeah. And now it looks like I'm a podcaster. I'm excited about this. So that's pretty much it. Is that good?
That's good. Yes.
Good.
Yeah. Baby, you choppy in spots. Can you turn your camera off? That may be sucking up some of the Wi-Fi.
Okay.
Thank you. Yeah, that's definitely good. Now you'll see why I go through it. She's a New York Puerto Rican, so I'm always afraid to be cut at some point in my life. But never a dull moment. Absolutely. Al, tell everybody about yourself in case there's somebody out there that don't know you from New York from listening to the Defy Life show. Just tell them where you're from, son.
Right. I is from New York. Born in Brooklyn, raised in Queens. But I've been in Atlanta for almost 30 years. And I am been married almost 25. August will have 25 years. And 2 kids, son, daughter, 123 as of yesterday, and my daughter will be 21 in a couple of months. I am a bona fide, certified hip-hop guru, specifically of the boom bap era. That's my shit. I'm a family man, work for a school district in the central office. I'm a serial entrepreneur, and that's it for now. I'm on the the flagship show. So, folks,
No.
some of y'all might know me out there. So, I'm gonna save the airtime and stop right there.
All right. Miss Gina, tell us about yourself and how difficult it is living with that guy.
And I'm narcissist number one.
Yeah.
See, that's what I was about to say. See, so you already know how it is. So my name is Gina Glymph. I too am a native of New York, born and raised. Left New York for the first time at 21 to come down here. Was that 21? Maybe 20? I don't even know. To come down here for grad school, and 28 years ago, it'll be 28 years in August. And just never left. Wow. So I am my list of I ams, right? I am a mother. I am a wife. I am a poet. I am a writer. I am a consultant full-time for Glymph and Associates. I am a lover of children. My passion is children. Early childhood education is my background. Like Al said, we've been in this game. We've been married. We will be married for 25 years come August. Woo. We have been in each other's lives, though, 32 years. Met him in 1988. And, we've been...
That is dope. Like, your relationship is older than hip-hop. That's fucking dope.
Almost.
So the other day I said to him, on our 25th anniversary, we will had been together, been married half of our lives. We will both be 50 this year.
That's
beautiful. Oh, wow.
Yeah. So that's me. That's us.
That's so dope. I love this.
The running joke on the Defy Life show is that y'all been married since y'all was 6. So we always got a reference to the thing about when y'all met.
Some days it feels like it.
Right. Oh man, well, cool, Gina. I'm so excited to be doing this with you, and glad you were part of this. So this is gonna be a fun ride.
Same here. Same here.
I feel like do all my I ams again. I'm like, damn, I am too. But that's all right. No, go ahead.
Thomas Stevens, how's it going today, sir?
It's going well, man. Like I said, happy to be here amongst good people.
No doubt, man. Tell the folks about yourself. Anybody that had gone to GoDefyLife.com and read your bio, tell them about yourself, man.
Well, my name is Thomas Stevens, and I'm from Newberry, South Carolina. Born and raised. That's why I bumped into the Glymph clan, and graduated from Newberry High. Went on to the Allen University, HBCU. Get up, stand up. You already know. Okay, left there, embarked on a career with education with kids. So as of now, I'm a behavior interventionist. Also entrepreneur, in a business with JR. DJR, podcast with Jay and Al, and I'm also on another show, and I just got into business with my wife, so I'm definitely waiting on the fruit to nourish from that. So other than that, man, like Al said, I'm not going to take up any more time, so I'll pass the mic.
All right. Well, first and foremost, you don't just bump into the Glymph clan. You either get engulfed in it or you get spit back out. People don't just bump into it.
Hey, I bumped into because we had the same haircut, and I was like, "Who is this guy with the same haircut as me?" At the school, both of us had the LJ parts in the middle.
No doubt.
I was like, "Who is this guy with the same cut as me?"
Right. Well,
Jay.
Yeah. So, and ended up. We went to the beach for senior week, and it's been on since then. We've been defying life ever since.
Hey, it's been on and popping since.
No doubt. And then you went and bumped into somebody else and decided to attempt to ruin her life if she wasn't such a great lady. Chiquita, tell the people about yourself.
Speak it, Jay. Speak the truth. My name is Chiquita, and this is the hard part to tell you about yourself.
That's why I did.
Well, I'm from Sumter, South Kakalaki, born and raised. So definitely South Carolina. Much about me. I have three. We have 3 kids together.
Yeah.
I kind of like change up a little bit. I did dental for almost about 10 years as a dental assistant. Then I just kind of change up, so now I'm in like pharmaceutical drugs. Still dibble and dabble because dentist is still kind of like my customer base. What else I need to say about myself? Oh, what I like to do. Some people always shock because I do talk a lot sometimes, but I am shy. But people are shocked about that because I do, because I still talk a lot, but I do feel like I'm shy.
Me too, Keita.
Yes.
Oxymoron. That's what that is.
So this is a little bit out of my comfort zone with the podcast. And then Thomas kind of introduced me and Jay into podcasting. So now I'm on 3 shows. Help me. So I have, I'm Speak the Truth with Thomas. And then I also have one with my sister and one of my first cousins in California called Cornbread Fed, just empowering women every day. And then passion of mine, I like to cook. I actually had to just go ahead and start cooking because I kind of had the green thumb and people kind of like what I cook. So I started just dibbling, dabbling, and cooking. And that's it.
Cool. Well, yeah, that is dope. So I do know you and Gina well enough to know that, yeah, you both of you are like talkative, shy people, if that makes sense. But
That makes sense. Right.
yeah, but you know, I once heard that if you're not a walking conundrum, you haven't lived long enough. So kudos to both of you, for being yourselves. So, and I guess I should have went first to match along with my wife, but me and my unselfish self decided to let everybody else go first. You know, I just always put everyone above myself. No, I'm just kidding. I just honestly forgot. But again, I'm not going to take a lot of time. Most people that have heard us know that I'm J.R. Glymph, co-founder and president of Defy Life. I've been in broadcast media and podcasting before they were even called podcasts. So I've been in this game about 14 years. Decided to reach out to my best friend Pooh and my favorite cousin Al about, what's it been, y'all, like 3 years now?
Yeah.
And decided to do our own thing, and it's been, like you said, it's been popping ever since. So I am a father of 2 boys and my lovely wife Ladine. I'm a huge Pittsburgh Steelers fan. It's the only team that I feel deserves my my emotional support. Everybody else I can just watch, but it's only one team I get emotional about. And I'm also a lover of debates and arguments, all that kind of stuff. So I hope y'all enjoy this, man. This is a different realm. I'm usually a private person, so to have anyone kind of get a view into my personal life, especially my marriage, is different for me. So, but I'm willing to be vulnerable for this. So, y'all, let's do it. Mm-hmm. So, for the debut episode, we decided we are all going to tell our stories. And I think, Pooh, tell me if you're wrong. Lay, Keita, tell me if you're wrong. I think we'd all be honored if our blueprint couple, Al and Gina, the 25-year veterans, go first and tell us all their story.
Indeed.
Oh, I agree.
Indeed.
All right. So, just to preface this, we've heard one side of one part of each of these stories on the Defy Life show.
We all knew this day would come. Day of writing.
So, I don't remember the episode, but there was an episode where we were asked by a listener to have me, Thomas, and Al give each of us tell how we met our wives, and of course they weren't there to defend themselves, and it was even before the good, like the fuzzy puppy love times. It was when we actually met. So there was one little part of each of our relationships that has been told from one side. Now you're about to get the full course. So have at it, Al, Gina. Y'all up first.
Would you like me to tell it, Gina, or you to tell
Yeah, you can start it off, and I'll just correct you as you go. You fuck up the story.
Oh, we know.
it? Okay. So, in 1988, I was a freshman. I just finished college, Colgate University. My first year, finished my first year of college. So Colgate University is a small liberal arts, predominantly white institution where, the selection of women of color is, limited. We're 10% of the population as a whole. So, I figured out real quick after my first year that, you got to act quick to make sure that you got a chance with some of these ladies because, real talk, pickings was slim.
Here we go.
So that summer, me and one of my good friends, Steve, we decided as a strategy to meet women, what we would do is go up to the summer program. There was a summer enrichment program for like graduating high school seniors who were entering the college. They went up there for 4 weeks. I had been in the program the year before. So I'm like, yo, let's go back up there and introduce ourselves to some of the ladies. This way, they'll know us in the fall. We'll have a head start.
That's what
That's
you
the
say.
dead ass truth. So we drive up. After we drive up from Philly, I go up to Philly. We drive up. That's where he's from. All night, get there early in the morning. Hang out during the day, like kind of meeting the folks. Some of the RAs knew us, so it was kind of cool. Ultimately, as the night progressed, they was going to have a party in one of the dorms. So me and my man, we went and got drunk on some wine, some Reuniti. Hey, I was 18, so you could drink what you can get. Got me some Reuniti and got toasted and came back to the dorm. And by then I had kind of had my eyes on Gina because I had kind of been there all day. And ultimately, throughout the night, I danced with her, and like the end of the night, we spent like just kind of rapping, talking, and like I'm twisted by that, right? Tired and twisted, but I'm on the couch kicking my game, going hard body, trying to let her know that, yo, you gonna be with me. And so this is where the braggadocious part comes out, but it's the truth. Right. So as I'm sitting there and I'm telling my story, and what's so cool about like our meeting is that as I'm like, yo, so where you from? Oh, I'm from the city. Okay, me too. Where you from? What part? Queens. Oh shit, I'm from Queens. What part? Laurelton. And I was like, oh man, I'm from Rosedale. Laurelton and Rosedale are right next to each other. So we quickly figured out that we grew up a mile apart, but this is the first time I'm meeting her. And it's like, oh, how did I not meet you? Because, I thought I was Casanova Fly back in the day in high school. How did I not meet you? I felt like I knew all the girls in the neighborhood.
That's because he had been through all of it.
Oh, wow.
So turns out she had went to Seventh-day Adventist school for elementary and junior high school, middle school, and then went to high school in Manhattan in high school. So A. Philip Randolph. So like literally our paths just didn't cross. But hey, we are here now. So you know what? I want to be with you. I got a man, just like the MC Light and Positive K song. I got a man. Well, what he got to do with me? So I was like, yo, real talk, because I had been up there a year. So I had little faith in the relationship lasting if I put full court press on. So I'm like, that's not going to last. And she was like, what? I was like, yeah, that relationship, that ain't going to last. So we going to be together by December. And she left and laughed, and like the same look she looking at me now was probably the same look she had then. Like, you are crazy. And I was like, yo, real talk. I'm Alvin Glymph. We gonna be together by Thanksgiving. Damn Christmas. We gonna be together by Thanksgiving. And our first date was first week in November. So like I kept my promise. And
I was just weak.
But honestly, when they talk about when they talk about love at first sight and just this belief that you done met the one, that's the space I was that night. Even though I was drunk, I really felt like for whatever reason, like, yo, I like this, I like her. And it was just so much things that we had in common, even though we didn't. And the yin yang thing was kind of feeling, and I'm like, I want to be with you. And so we dated through college. I was a year ahead of her, came down here to Atlanta, went to graduate school. Ultimately, she came to Emory as well, and that allowed our relationship to continue. And I think once we got here in the same city in Atlanta, with like just hitting 25-ish, we was just like, yo, we at that point been together 7 years and kind of knew this was for real. And we got married and had kids, and like in some ways it seems fairy tale-ish, but in some ways it just seems like so simple as hell, in the sense of like not simple, but like this is what was supposed to happen. And my grandmother told me often while I was in college that that's what you do in college. You find you a wife. And while I wasn't really ready for marriage, it definitely helped kind of me see that vision. Like, you know what? Let me try to hang in. Let me try to hold on, because she might be the one. And ultimately she was.
That's dope. So he wasn't flat out lying on the show.
Oh, no, that's why he told the story. That's why he told the story. Yes,
He wasn't flat out lying, But let me get a little mushy for 30 seconds.
Okay.
Probably
Yeah.
not that. So as he's telling his story, I'm looking at him, and I'm just, because we're in the same room. So I'm looking at him, and I'm just like, yo, I love this dude. Like, I'm not sure why every day, but yeah, he's cool. So for the most part, that story is accurate. However, there's some things like that he left out a little, right? And so before he got there, so yes, it was a white institution, and so we were the little black children that was lucky enough that the white folks let us come to their school, right? But in order for us to come, they said, y'all not really quite smart enough. Like, y'all real smart for where you come from, but you ain't smart enough to hang with these white folks. So y'all got to come up here during the summer so we can get you ready to be able to compete with these white folks, right? So it was during our summer program. So we had been there. He came up towards the end. So we had been there a few weeks already. And there were some people that talked to us, females, about some of the dudes that was there. And so it was kind of like a beware of, and it was like this list of dudes, right? And Al happened to be on.
Oh, God.
Al happened to be on that list. And so they were
now
like,
this is my her side of the story. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, Al ain't tell us shit about a list. I would have hit it.
It was this list. Watch out for this dude, this dude, this dude. And it really was about their perceived treatment of women, just stay away from them because they ain't about shit and they just going to use and abuse you, right? They just want sex, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so on the day that he comes up, right? So this is the mindset I got, right? So on the day that him and Steve comes up, I'm like, oh, this the shit they was talking about. Because real talk, they came up to scope out the females, right? And so this didn't help because it was like, yo, what they said, it was true, right? Like, here we are, they show up. We just came to see who was up here, get first dibs on the freshmen, the fresh meat. That's what it was. It wasn't even freshmen, the fresh meat. We just want to see what that's about. So that night, and I think they just came, was it just one day, babe? They came up for one day. We happened to be having a party that night. So Al stepped to me, and this was, kind of like, it was, I don't know, less than 20 of us up there coming in, so we had our little cohort. We had become friends, blah, blah, blah. So really just us 20, rising freshmen on the campus partying. And so him and Steve came in the room, he pegged me right away. He came over, we started dancing, blah, blah, blah. And as he's talking, number one, he's drunk. Number two, I'm like, this dude is the most arrogant motherfucker I have ever met in my life. So real talk, I did not like him. Because of, in my mind, right, it was because of the arrogance. I was raised, we were raised to be modest. You ain't get to, my mom was straight serious about that. We weren't even allowed to carry pocket mirrors in our pocket books because, she'd be like, what you look like. You don't need to be looking at yourself. So modesty was huge. So I'm looking at this dude and I'm just like, damn, I've never seen it to this magnitude. But at the same time, it was intriguing, right? Because it's like, yo, I never knew that there was people that really out themselves. Like, who does this? And so after
Gina was like, this thing is feeling himself.
Right.
Feeling himself a little too much. He the only one in this room feeling himself. Like,
On 10.
I'm not feeling him. And he drunk. So it's like, yo, what the fuck? So anyway, we danced probably most of the night. When the party was over, Al and I sat on the couch in the dorm, like a common space in one of the dorms, and talked damn near the rest of the night until he passed out. He say he fell asleep. But it ain't really when you drunk and you go to sleep, that's not really just falling asleep, right? Like you passing out. So he passed out and I got up and I left him. Isn't that funny, Al? I left him on the couch sleeping for the rest of the time. You know how many nights I leave him on the couch to this day?
That was a preview for your future right there.
Yeah, the foreshadowing that we didn't even know was happening.
God's trying to tell you something. God's trying to tell you something.
So I left him, went to bed. Honestly, I don't really remember. I think he may have come through for breakfast the next morning. And then I didn't see him anymore after that. And the impression that I had of him that night was just like I said, yeah, whatever. He's whatever. So that was probably July. Summer program ends, we leave. Here's where Al got major brownie points, right? But this is how me being young and naive, this is how silly I was and didn't even realize that while he got brownie points, he missed some major shit. But
Hold on. So all my folks out there, take notes right here. Take notes right here. Peep the game.
Fast forward to September when it's now time, semester's getting ready to start. My parents drive me up there, drop me off. And we had a Black dorm called the Harlem Renaissance dorm. And that's where, it might 99% of the people that lived in that dorm at every semester was Black. You might have had one occasional other culture that decided to live there. So when we arrived, Al is standing outside the dorm waiting for me. So I was like, oh, okay. Right. So we pull up, unpack the car, whatever. Al just wanted to say hi, gives me a kiss on the cheek, and he's out. So I'm like, hmm, okay. He was waiting for me. Now it's like, my 18-year-old self is like, actually, I was 17 at the time. My 17-year-old self is like, yo, he ain't know what time I was coming. We hadn't spoken since. He clearly remembers me. Like, he's waiting for just me. Right. So I'm like, all right, maybe, he got a little saving grace there, whatever. Kissed me on the cheek and he was out. This nigga not once offered to carry a fucking bag. Yeah, nothing. Can I get it out the car? Can I check what room you're supposed to be in? Can I walk you in, introduce you to somebody? I don't even know if he spoke to my parents. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, kiss, peace. Yeah, I ain't think about that then. I was just all in the, he waited for me. Just waiting for me. So, yes, that night when we sat up and talked all night, he did tell me. He told me I did have a boyfriend at the time. He did everything that he said about that part was true. And he said to me, we're going to be together by November. And I was like, nigga, no, we're not. And I think I might have told him then. I was like, I don't even like you. No, we're not going to be together. You ain't got to worry about it. I got a boyfriend. I'm in love. All that dumb shit. True enough, we were together by Thanksgiving break. We went on our first date, and I have to trust him on this. I really don't remember if the first date was the 1st of November, but we went to, so he told you
first week.
First week.
So that means it was before your birthday, and you should remember that.
It was absolutely before my birthday. I just don't remember, it was absolutely before my birthday. Right. And so our first date, Colgate University is in a small town. It was a small school, but it's also a small town. It's like one of those rural white college towns. And so the only Black people in the town was associated with the university. Either you were a student or one of the probably 3 or 4 Black professors that were there at the time. And in the town, there was a movie theater that on Tuesday nights was cheap night. So we would go to the movies just as students. We would go on cheap night most of the time where we could go for 50 cents. Now, keep in mind, every other night wasn't but $1.50. Right. We had to go on our first date on cheap night. This nigga couldn't spend but 50 cents on me for our first date. So we went, so that was our first date. And it kind of just been popping ever since. By that summer, really by the next semester, I kind of was kicking my boyfriend to the side, decided that, I wanted to be with Al. And so while initially it was the arrogance that kind of turned me off, like I said, it intrigued me at the same time. But Al was just very different than what I was used to. He was very confident, even beyond the arrogance, like, so the arrogance is more or less in my mind like confidence to the 15,000th power. But where I could see just the confidence and not the arrogance is very attractive to me. But he was also just like a good time. Al liked to have fun. We had fun together. We got together. It was laughs and jokes. And so that's kind of the beginning of our story. And here we are. And it's funny, so as I think about, when I reflect on our relationship, there's so many things that, it was foreshadowed. There's so many things that we got glimpses of each other, and in our youth didn't understand, how those same things would manifest themselves throughout our lives as we continue to grow and get older and mature and blah, blah, blah. But so much of it was, straight, you can't be surprised. I showed you that shit 20 years ago. That ain't changed. Right. How you mad about that? That's who I've always been. But as you grow, things look different. But it was there. It was there all the time. So I think that's our story, or less.
Very cool. Well, you did a good job of telling it, man. I ain't mad at you.
Yeah.
But yeah, you did a good job.
I gave up lying about 12 years ago.
I think it was like 97% accuracy.
97%. Yeah, we got pretty much everything. Yeah. First, me and Pooh thought we got the Cliff Notes initially.
Right.
But yeah.
But we literally and we grew up.
Ow, you did I. But Gina, that was beautiful, mommy. Yes, I love the story.
Yeah.
That's our story. And so we literally grew up a mile apart, like exactly a mile apart, and never met until we went to college 4 hours away. And so we always say, like, you know, it was straight destiny, like, for real. Even through me being like, I hate this dude. Like, I can't believe I spent all night with him, sitting up on the couch talking and watching him pass out, you know. But at the end of the day, like, it was straight destiny. And so while we were dating, neither one of us had cars for the first couple of years that we were together. And so we would literally walk to each other's house, you know, when we got home, on break and stuff. So, yeah.
Very cool. All right, well, now everybody knows the beginning of your story, and throughout further episodes, I'm sure we'll hear the remaining portions of it up until them grown folks you got quarantined with you right now. One who's not very fond of his Twitter situation right now. But all right, thank you guys. Man, that's gonna be tough to top. But Pooh, Chiquita, you guys are next in line. You've been married for the second longest on the show. Chiquita, let us hear it. Let's see how Pooh did, and see if you were fawning all over him like he told us on the show.
Nah, that's not what I said. But I'm sure her story's not that accurate, but I'll go ahead and let her tell it.
Well, he thinks that I have bad memory, but so I usually let Thomas tell the story, and I kind of follow through
because of bad memory.
But I'm sure when I tell my story, he's gonna jump in because it's the truth or whatever. But I always didn't really like our story though, because I mean it's just a story though. How we met. So I was in college at the time. Well, we were in college. Sorry, I can't talk about myself. Okay, so so I was in college at the time, and so I usually go to this spot. A lot of our circle friends knows about this spot. They always joke about this too. And it was a club in Columbia, South Carolina that was called Banana Joe's. I lived for this place. Like, this was my spot. I had the guys on me. Like, I used to get all the drinks. This was my spot. You know, I had this place shut down in my mind. So,
hey, Chiquita, when he tells the story, does he tell that part?
No, he doesn't tell that part.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah, I've never heard that part.
I was the thing that was my spot. So, I ended up decided one night. So I always had class on Friday night, and it was a really hard class. It was some kind of business class that I had to take, and I just wing it because this was my spot. Remember, this is my spot. So on Thursday nights, I always go here Thursday nights, but I knew I had class on Friday mornings. So I went one night with my friend, and I had an exam Friday morning. I knew I had this exam. I kind of studied a little bit, but I decided I had to go to Banana Joe's. So we had a good time. We was partying, everything, enjoying ourselves. And then I decided, I was like, okay, it's time for me to leave. It's getting a little late, knowing I have an exam in the morning. So me and my friend, Nayana, shouts out to Nayana. She was coming. She rode with me. So we were leaving the club. After I left the club, it was still early, kind of early. So I ended up seeing this guy. He started yelling, like behind me. I was right. I had on this outfit.
That wasn't me.
Yes, it was.
Go ahead.
And so somebody started yelling at me, was like, hey, hey. And I was like, who is this? And so I just kept walking because I was ready to go. Didn't feel like hearing it. I done had my drinks tonight and then probably got a number or two. So, girls, y'all know how it is when guys start yelling at you and, and they're behind you or whatever. So I always had this perception because I have like a big butt, which that's another story. So, I'm like, oh, he's just talking, because he's just looking from behind, whatever. So I kept walking to the car. They kept following us. And so then that's when Thomas at the time was sitting like beside me, and he started talking like, hey, how you doing? What's your name? Such and such. I told him my name, whatever, but I'm walking to the car. So then his other friend who was with him decided to try to holler at my friend. And then my friend was like, oh Lord, look what I got. Now you get this one, and I get this one. That's what she was saying in my ear. So then we ended up to the car. He was like, well, can I get your number? Can I get your number? And I was like, well, I don't know.
You make me sound real thirsty.
I was like, well, I'll just go ahead. At the time, I wasn't talking to no one, whatever. I was like, okay, you can go ahead and get my number. So I ended up giving him my number that night. Not thinking about anything. I just gave my number. So then I had class or whatever. So never thought about it. I gave this guy my number. I still had like exams studying at a friend's house. And guess what? It was like 4 weeks. I saw my phone ringing. So this was like almost a month. I saw my phone ringing. I was like, who is this calling my number? So then that's when I answer or whatever. He was like, hey, this is Thomas. Thomas, the one you met at my club. I was like, I know you damn lying. You called me a whole damn month? I was like, who? I couldn't even remember like how he looked. I couldn't remember anything about this dude. All I remember is he was just trying to holler at me that night at the club or whatever. And I was like, in my head, I was like, wow, this kid called me a whole month. Like, this is crazy. So I was like, whatever, I'll talk to you later. I'm having, I got exams and I'll try to call you back. Never call him back. I'm not playing my face. Like, this guy called me a whole month later. No, ma'am.
Punctual.
So, yeah, that was Thomas. So he ended up calling me again when I was home. And I was like, well, so we started having a little conversation. We started talking a little bit. Then did I ask you that night, like, why did you wait so long to call?
It's your memory.
Oh, whatever. So long story short, we ended up talking. We talked for a long time because then we started talking and calling each other every day or whatever. But the problem is I have no clue how he looks. So I'm like, I'm not going to waste my time because he might be a scrub. He probably don't even look good because it was at dark time. Yeah. So then that's when I called my friend was in the house with me, my roommate. And then I was like, okay, well, can you come by? That was me trying to get him to come over so I could see how he looked. Because I'm not going to waste my time on the phone because he sound good on the phone. He got a good conversation, but I have no clue how he looks. So he ended up coming to my house with a friend. And then I look at my friend. I was like, well, is it? She gave me the thumbs up. I was like, okay, I can work with this. So then we started talking and we were pretty fast. Like after a year, we ended up moving in with each other. Like we were fast. We were real fast. The conversation was good. We moved in with each other. And then like after 2 years after that, we ended up having Carter. And then we ended up getting married. Yeah. So that's our story. Oh, and his proposal, we'll talk about that later. His proposal, I really didn't care for it neither. It was over both angles.
Bojangles.
It was over. We were eating some Bojangles, and he was like, "That's funny you said that."
It had nothing to do with the Bojangles.
Okay, we'll talk about that later.
There's a lot of holes.
Did he have a ring and a biscuit?
Thank you.
No,
That dude.
no, Al,
I need a repeat.
that wasn't. There's a lot of holes in the story though. So I wasn't yelling from her from behind, from caveman. I was not doing that. So she was walking up. See, I was kicked out of the club. I was with my homeboy Los, and so the bartender was like spraying him with water. So I'm spazzing out in there, and he's getting sprayed with water. I spazzes out. Next thing I know, the starting line for the South Carolina Gamecocks, they're throwing me out of the door. All 5 of them. So I'm out there waiting, and I see someone coming up, and when my homeboy walked out there with me, he was like, "Man, they ain't gonna have you stay out here by yourself." But Los stayed in, and I done got thrown out because of Los. So she's walking up, her and her homegirl. So then I approach her, and ask her how she's doing, what's your name. So and then I asked, she was like, "Well, I'm on my way to have an exam, on my way to my car." So I said, "Well, do you mind if I walk with you to your car?" I don't know what she was talking about. I said, but I totally didn't say that because I'm not that kind of guy.
Oh, stop it.
Okay, so once we get to the car, I asked her, I said, "Well, do you mind if I call you sometime?" And then she of course she gave the number. And and she gave the number, so I did call her about a month and a half later. That part's accurate. However, when I called her from Broad River, the bowling alley. And I said, I was like, "Okay, well, what do you live?" She's like, "I live on Broad River." I said, "Oh, okay, I'm on Broad River right now." I was like, "Well, I can, leave from the bowling alley, come check you out, stop by for a moment." So I stopped by for a moment. She was studying for an exam. That wasn't the next night, the next time I called. That was the very first time I called.
That was not. You are in line. I had an exam that night.
Let's get V's on 3-way to support my story, Jay. So I can get someone to support my story.
You called the next day.
I don't want to make you look that way, but that's true.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay. But but everything else is pretty much accurate. We definitely started seeing each other, hanging out every day, talking on the phone to the wee hours of the morning. And so let me see. V's and I was roommates at the time. Then I was on my way back. To Newberry because I graduated in April. But I was graduating in April. So I was moving back to Newberry to finish up because I was done with that semester. And she was like, "Well, you really don't have to go back. It's only a few months. You can crash at my spot." And I was like, "You sure?" And she was like, "Yeah, that's fine." I was like, "Well, if you're sure, then, I'll split the bills and, I'll crash at your spot. If you're sure it's cool." So, I thought that was very, very cool of her. So crashed at her spot, graduated. And the rest is history.
Nose was open, wide open.
Yeah.
Wide open. Wow.
Stop.
Thomas is not telling the truth because he was from behind. And I always said that you never saw my face. He only saw me from behind. But he's trying to say that he's not a butt person, but he's a butt person. He's trying to say, "No, I like your hair." Really? What black man look at a girl hair?
All of them.
You may never lie, Gina.
Thank you.
I was not from the back. That was the other 2 guys that she had already given her number. Hey, I'm doing air quotes as I say that. Hey, I'm doing air quotes as I say that. But Jay known me half of my life. Jay, you ever known me to yell at somebody? Hey, come on, Jay.
Yeah, that I will give you. I have never known Pooh to be like a dude hollering out the passenger window.
Hey, I'm such a reserved person. Right. If I have to yell, I won't even say anything. I'll holler the next time. I won't even say anything.
Question, Jay, the better question is, have you ever known him to look at a woman's hair?
Ooh. Nah, I can't say I can't. Especially when he
I'm
got
just saying.
he already got the the advantage of a rear view already. He ain't looking at the hair. I already know that much.
Jay, she was walking up to me. I didn't get the view from the back. That's what I'm saying.
Hey Al,
As she walked up,
finish this line for me. Ass so fat you can
gotta.
see it from the front.
There you go.
Get out of here.
Ain't have to have beef from behind. But either way, I mean, attraction is attraction. Whatever it took to get his attention. You are where you are now, and I'm sure you don't regret him checking you out. I hope not.
No.
Nah,
I just don't like the
As they all do.
I just don't like the perception of I kept running behind her because her butt.
Well,
because that's totally inaccurate.
I always tell that story because it's true.
Yeah, I mean, I will say this: the only time I've known Pooh half his life, we talk every day, and we talk 2 hours every Tuesday night. I've never known Pooh to yell if it's not about Michael Jordan, Tupac, or Walter Payton. So,
Or D Rose.
or Derrick Rose, right?
Right.
So,
Yeah, but that's our story, and we've been together for how long? 16 years.
wow,
And we've been married for 12.
that's dope.
Yeah.
Very cool. All right, Lay,
Very cool.
you ready to throw my name through the mud?
I'm ready for you.
Nah, I'm just joking.
I'm ready to tell us. Yes, I like our story.
All right.
So,
Well, let me start, because after I give this first like 2 sentences, you gonna take over from there anyway. So,
Right.
I'm leaving. I was in Atlanta, and I'm leaving work one day, and I'm in the elevator. I walk off the elevator, get into the parking lot, and immediately behind me, this is what I hear. Oh my God! Y'all know that voice. All of you know that voice. And you know me, like whatever the opposite of like loud and boisterous is, I'm the opposite of that. Y'all know that. So that's what I hear, and immediately I'm like, oh my God, who the hell is this loud ass woman behind me? So I look back and I get a brief glimpse of this Puerto Rican lady behind me, and I like think a beeline to my car so I don't have to hear his voice anymore. It's the end of my day. I do not want to. No, that after a long work day, especially in a call center at that point, I did not want to hear any voice, let alone that voice in my ear right then. Right, so at that moment is when I was like, "Oh my God, this lady keeps screaming in my ear. Let me get to the car." Next day, I get back to work. I've been informed that I'm going to be training somebody. Lay, here you go. Take over.
oh no, you fucking didn't.
I've told
How
you this.
you
Like,
gonna? Wait a minute. I'm over here thinking about the story, and he starts it off like that. Oh my God! Okay,
because I want people to
I cannot.
understand the irony in this situation. It's beautiful, actually. So
I mean, very beautiful. So, anywho, I'll get back to you because you got some other pieces you need to tell. Anyway. All right. So I moved to Atlanta when I was 24, 4 months pregnant of Ladine, who is now 13, our oldest. And let me see, I started work probably when Ladanian was about 4 months old. So after I had moved to Atlanta with my sister, she was able to watch my son. It was beautiful. Anywho, about a year after, Ladanian was 13 months old, right, Jay? Ladanian was 13 months.
Mm-hmm.
No, bullshit. Ladanian's birthday's in January. We met in March.
Yeah. Right.
So, yeah.
14,
So we met in March. So it's about 14 months old. And to another department, come across, whatever. I don't remember JR prior to the day I met him. right? I know that people were telling me about him. Oh yeah, JR's. Oh, in my class, the gay dude that sat next to me, I loved him. He was like, "Oh my God, I was training with JR. He's amazing." I'm like, "Oh, really?" He was like, "Yeah." I said, "Oh, I hope they put me over there because you're in different departments with different mentors." So I was like, "Oh, I hope I hope they put me over there." Anyway, they had moved me over to his department. So I come around the corner, right? And I'm like, "Oh, yes." Now I see this fucking massive. All I saw was shit, right? I see this massive, amazing, beautiful black man in front of me sitting down. I see these big ass fucking shoulders, his bald ass head. I was like, yes, hi. I was so excited.
Hold
Yes.
on, when you say hi, let me get that hi again.
Okay, hi. Yes. So then they introduce me to him and they tell me this is JR. And I'm like, yes. And you know me, hi, my name is Ladine. Hi, I'm Ladine. Thank you.
That's
Right?
how you said it, lady.
Yes, I was very excited. He was everything, right? He was everything. Then of course, so I sit with him. He's got the brain. Then of course now I have some what are they called, babe? Some qualifications, right? There's a qualification demand that I'm going to be dating, right? And that is he's got to love big. That's number one, right? And then he has to be a Locks fan. Those were like some real fucking qualifications. So we just start talking in conversation between calls. He's mentoring me. He's showing me. I just love the way he spoke. I love the way he, was able to converse with people. I loved him. I loved him. I was like, yes, I need this man in my life. It was everything. Anyway, and then he loved Big E, and then he loved the Locks, and it was just like, this is perfect. So yes, of course, it was just amazing. And let me see. Then it was so. I loved him even more because Ladanian was born on the 23rd. JR's birthday is on the 23rd, and actually the same exact day that my little sister and my niece were born. My little sister and my niece were both born May 23rd, 2003. And so JR is May 23rd. So it was just dope. Then, okay. So what happened, babe? First date.
Well, before that,
Oh,
so no, just because different perspectives. So it was when the next day again. I told I was going to be training. I was told I was going to be training someone, and of course she turns the corner, and she come to my desk, and I knew it was the voice that I heard before, so I was kind of like on guard a little at first. But again, like I said, when we started talking. We had a lot of the same interests, and like my cousin Al, I'm a hip hop head, so we started talking hip hop, and everything just started flowing. And everybody that knows me knows I'm extremely reserved. I'm calculated about everything I do. So over the days of us training, I was kind of apprehensive about, of course we'd exchange numbers, but I was kind of apprehensive about making contact outside of work because I didn't want to, for one, ruin anything professionally, and two, ruin anything personally. So, one day I get a text out of the blue from Ladine that says, "Hey, yo," and everybody that knows my wife knows this is exactly how she sounds. She texts me, "Yo, are you feeling me or not?" Yes, she did. I don't know if you were drunk. I don't even know. But she's
Let's
like,
just
"Yo,"
cut to the chase.
right? She's like, "Yo, are you feeling me or not?" And I was taken aback.
right.
Because, right. So we were, and at that point I was, roommates with my cousin Amelia, and I was like, yo, Mill, look
Shout
at
out to Mill.
right. So
Shout out to Meal.
I showed it to Mill and, expecting to get some support. And, of course, Mill was like, well, shit, nigga, answer. So,
Are you? Are you?
Exactly.
That's why I love you so much.
I was going to say, Amelia was in your corner. Like, you don't know how much she helped this process.
Man. So,
Lola.
she did say, Mill was like, well, I can't tell you either way, tell her to come through. So, they came through Ladine and, got Mill sign off, Mill Love Life. And we ended up going on our.
How did that happen? We did do that.
All right. Yeah. So, after that night, by that point, there were times they was working a second job at nights. So by that point, there were times where, if I didn't have anything to do, I would watch Ladanian at night.
Oh, he did. Oh. Off, I does my damn thing. So I made him a strawberry shortcake and a cheesecake for his birthday. This nigga was in heaven, okay?
And arroz con pollo. That's what got me.
Yes, because I asked him, I said, so what would you like for dinner? What Puerto Rican meal would you like for dinner? So he tells me, I want arroz con pollo. I said, oh, okay. And I do me some arroz con pollo. So anyway, I made him some arroz con pollo with totones and mojito. And let me tell you, he was in love. That night, I promise, I had made him the cheesecake and the strawberry shortcake for the daytime. And then he came over at night and had dinner. And it was beautiful. Then on the first day, we went to Maggiano's. So we go to Maggiano's. And then after that, now, mind you, I had moved down to Atlanta with my sister and my brother-in-law. And that was it. I didn't know anybody.
Let me tell this part, please.
So that thing.
Let me tell this part. All right, first of all, when we go on our first date, she tells me this is the first date she's ever been on. Like, the first real date, right? And I was like, what do you mean it's your first date? Like, first date since you moved to Atlanta? She was like, no, it's the first date I've ever been on, like, a real date. I was like, oh, you got to be fucking kidding me. Like, what do you mean? Like, so I tell Mill this, and Mill's like, oh, you can't hurt this woman. Like, she ain't never been on a date. Like, you better be sure you ready to get. Like,
that sounds just like her.
Right. Mill's like, oh, you can't hurt her. I was like, what do you mean? She was like, Jay, this woman's 25 years old. She's never been on a real date. She has a child. Like, you cannot fuck this up. I was like, oh, shit. So now I'm feeling pressured and shit. And, like, nights we'd be talking, like, texting or talking before our first date, her brother-in-law and her uncle would be texting as they were her, like trying to guess, like test me, like basically saying, like, yo, you gonna take me shopping? Yo, so all I remember is one of them, like Sam would text me, he texted me one night, one of them, I don't know who it was, Thousand, one of them, I was like, yo, are you, so what are you doing this weekend? I was like, I know we going out. And he was like, yo, you gonna take me to the mall and go shopping? And, I about cussed out. It took me a minute. I was like, I was about to cuss you out. So I just kind of dialed it back like, nah, we ain't going shopping. I mean, we're going out, but nah, you can forget about shopping. So come to find out that was
I
her
wish
uncle.
I had that text. That is not what you said. You were like, so you want to go shopping?
Yeah,
so then I come back to the phone because they deleted, right? Because they sent the messages and then they deleted them. So I'd be coming back to the phone. And I didn't fucking see that I sent anything crazy, right? So he sends me this freaking message that says, you want to go shopping? And I was like, shopping? What are you talking about? I mean, we could go shopping, but...
Yeah, that was...
when? Like, what?
Right. So, just like stuff leading up. So, we go to the date. Date was beautiful. Just hoping I didn't fuck it up, like Mill said. And
he didn't fuck it up.
We go.
Oh yeah.
We go. So then again, she was staying with her sister at this point, and she was like, "Yo, my sister wants to meet you. My sister and her family wants to meet you." So I'm thinking, okay, yeah, we can go kick it with your sister and your lying-ass brother-in-law, texting on your phone, trying to get me to take you shopping. Yeah, we go text with them. So we go back to the house, and when I walk in, this shit was like out of a horror movie. So
No, hold on. First he called Mill, and he was like, Mill, in front of me, right? He calls Mill on speaker. He was like, yo, Mill, I'm going to her sister's house. She was like, nigga, what the fuck you want a first date?
right.
This shit was mad funny. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So I was like, Mill, so if anything, I was just letting Mill know, yo, if anything happened to me, if I go missing, I'm going to her sister's house. So we get there and I walk in. So there's to the right of the house when you walk in is a dining room. To the left is a staircase, it's a big house. So it's like a kind of a winding staircase. And as I look to the left, I see her sister, who's I'm assuming is her sister. So her sister, 2 dogs, and her brother-in-law. And I look to the right, and I see, like, lined up the fucking staircase is like 19 kids, like, looking at me. Like, everybody just came out front to, like, check me out, right? And so I'm thinking I was
19, Jay.
Okay, it was 7. But still, in my mind, it felt like 19.
Bottom line, it was a lot of
It was a lot of fucking kids, right? And they all like lined up, like step by step, like looking down at me from the staircase. And I'm like, yo, what the fuck is going on? Are y'all about to like sell me? What is going on? But turned out everything was nice. But again, it was good, but I was afraid. Again, I'm calculated about everything I do. So for like, somebody to invite me into their home and meet their family after a first date, I was like in shock for a second. But it was good. I'd already, like built the little like comfort there with her and with Ladine. Ladine was my dog at that point. So I walked in the house, he ran to me, everything was cool. So, but then that was, again, that was part of it too, was, once, we started getting more serious and, really address, what part I'm going to play in his life and, how we're going to move forward. And what was it? 6 months later, we were pregnant with Lincoln. And,
Yeah. Got it on.
Right.
I mean, quick.
Hey, Chiquita, and you, Chiquita, you thought y'all were quick.
All right. You thought y'all was fast, and we was fast.
Hey,
Gina, I feel better now after talking.
Right. All right. But it was.
No.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead, babe.
So I got pregnant at Lincoln within 6 months. So I met his family at the baby shower, right? No, I had met Tanya came down with Mama, and that was before we got pregnant of Lincoln, probably like 3 months after we were dating. And Tanya came down with Mama, and I met them at a restaurant. But then, I met everybody. I didn't meet Pops till I was pregnant. I didn't meet the rest of the family till I was pregnant. Everybody met me pregnant of Lincoln. So, that's just how it was. So we have been together for 12 years this month. And then when we've been married for 9. And our wedding was pretty dope. We got married January 15th, 2011, after the massive snowstorm. It was a nightmare. The week of our wedding was crazy. Everybody's flights were delayed. It was like an apocalypse. It was like the first apocalypse because there was another one, like 4 years ago, right? So it was crazy. It was it was a nightmare. Then
but it was beautiful though.
Song. I mean, it was beautiful though. It was beautiful. It was a beautiful day. We had 50 of our. It was really just immediate family, and then whatever family lived in, and it was immediate family, and then my family because I have stepbrothers and extended family because my parents divorced when I was young, so I have extended family. And my family was like 45 people on its. No, it was like 32 people on its own. And Jay was like, well, shit, Amelia's here, Al and Gina are here. I was like, hell yeah.
Yeah, we can have Tara and Reggie come smoke Black Mounds in the church parking lot. Let's do this.
Oh my God. Anyway, it was beautiful. And the only thing that drove me crazy about our wedding was our wedding song. You know, when you come out and you're announced at the reception, was supposed to be Mary J. and Meth, You're All I Need, right? So my mom comes out to the car and she didn't want to. So she asked us as we're sitting in the car with Mama and Joe, right, babe?
Mm-hmm.
And my mom, yeah, my mom asked us, "Are you sure you want us to play that song as you guys come in?" We were like, "Yes, that's the fucking song that we want to be played." So we walk out, right, and guess what we hear?
Marvin Gaye and Tammy Terrell, You're All I Need to Get By.
You have any idea how upset? Just looked at each other like, got to be fucking kidding me right now. That's the only thing we wanted to do. That's the main thing we wanted, right? Oh, it was just it was too much. But anyway, other than
nothing
that,
against Marvin and Tammy. Everybody loves that song, but
but that wasn't our song.
You got two hip hop heads who wanted to make a statement, and this is what you give us. Like, really, you make that decision in this moment. So that was my real introduction to my mother-in-law.
Let me just say, I had a real dope ass wedding, and I do remember it being after that snowstorm, so I kind of remember that being part of the story. But one of my fond memories of that day, though, is getting to meet Sam,
right,
and smoking a cigar outside of the wedding.
Yeah.
I mean, outside of the reception. And that was really one of my first times really smoking a cigar. And he's like, nah. I mean, he was so excited, having a good time. Smoke. And I was so sick the next day. But more importantly, though, me and him, we had a cool bond that night out on the patio or whatever. And been pretty cool ever since. He's a cool guy.
Yeah, it was a good night, man. And then, it was the night, of course, my Steelers were playing the Ravens in the AFC Championship. So finally we went back inside and we figured out we made it to the Super Bowl. It was the night Antonio Brown became a star when he caught the pass on his helmet against the sidelines. And so it was an overall good night. And, that was a story up to that point.
Yeah, and it's been a very rough ride. I don't know whatever people thought. When women are little, they always have us thinking about how a man's going to come on this fucking white horse and he's going to rescue us, and it's a fairy tale.
Tell the truth, Ladine. Tell the truth.
All right.
Yes, and that's bullshit. And I think that we really need to do better as parents also, because I remember being a kid, and everybody just shove you out the room. And everybody shoves you out the room. And so, you don't need to know this until you're older, or whatever we say to children, right? That's not what we should really be doing. I mean, there are some stuff that they don't need to know, but there's some stuff they need to know and be present about, because when are they ever going to experience that again? Or how, if they come into a situation like that, will they know how to move? They won't know how to move if we don't teach them, Right. So, anywho.
That's another podcast.
Right.
It's
funny.
It's funny that you bring that up, because as I was listening to your story, Keita's story, my story, like my mind went straight to, there's so many things that little girls don't know, right. and we are not prepared for like adult life as it relates to relationships with dudes. So I was like, put a pin in that. That's definitely a topic moving forward.
Absolutely. And there are things that little boys aren't taught about being men in relationships. So those are definitely things we need to talk about on future episodes.
Yep. Yeah.
But yeah, this has been fun, y'all. Again, this is our debut episode of One Eye Shut. Al, you want to let everybody know the story behind the title?
Oh, my man. So there's an African proverb that talks about when you are dating, you should have both eyes open. Once you get married, close one eye. And I really heard that proverb before I was married. And it has really just informed my approach to my relationship, my wedding, and I can remember I had a cousin once that talked about like, yo, your first 5 years are bliss, honeymoon. The next 5 years is going to be the key. But what he talked about at the time was ultimately though, once you decide that this is the person that you want to spend the rest of your life with, life becomes a lot easier in terms of your choices and how you approach problems and the quote unquote flaws of your life partner. And to me, One Eye Shut is just kind of what I've been preaching to my wife since we was dating, more so selfishly, because I'll be like, yo,
I'm like, I don't remember none of that shit right there that he
I
talking
know
about.
she don't, but like I tell her all the time, and this could be another episode too, she don't tend to, like, a lot of the things that I say really don't resonate until somebody else says it that says it a little better than me.
That's not true. And that's really not true, but it also it really may hinge on what you just said 30 seconds ago, that you only applied it to you. That wasn't about us as a collective. That was you and how you operated, how you flowed through this thing, and not how we were flowing.
Make other people flow.
I'm just saying. And so when that's your perspective, that might be why I can't see sometimes what you're saying, because it doesn't include me. It's just about you. See, that's like what we talk about before, like how, that arrogance thing, like it just kind of seeps in there, like somewhere along the line, like, I'm
and
just
then
saying.
also,
right.
Right, like we got
a lot of layers to this shit, Sean.
There are infinite possibilities to this podcast. We are going to have a lot to talk about.
A lot of fun. I'm excited.
A lot of fun. Right. So I'm excited for the one couple that knows both of you couples pretty extensively. I'm excited to get to know you even deeper. And then I'm also excited for the two of you couples to get to know each other. This is going to be really fun. And for my brothers Al, Pooh, we get to know each other on a certain level on our other show. This is going to be fun getting to know each other on different levels on here as well. So this is going to be fun.
I agree.
Love it.
All right.
Good stuff.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Am I muted?
No, go ahead, Pooh.
I do. It took me about 5 years to get over not being at your wedding. I do want to get that out right now, though.
Hey, you ain't the only one. You ain't the only one.
It took like 5 years to get over.
I know, you ain't the only one. We that's a conversation we had that we knew we were gonna have to feel the wrath of a lot of people because it was a really small wedding. But once
we have felt of the wrath,
right? But once
you talk to me though. You talk to me about it.
But once we kind of got the numbers and saw it was going to be literally 300 people, we was like, I don't know who's paying for this shit. We can't do this.
Right. We're not doing
it. But yeah, so I knew people was feeling a certain kind of way, and then, but it's kind of one of the things that came with that territory. But we can fight next time.
Gina, that's one. Yeah, and then Pooh, you got something to look forward to when they do their, I don't know, 15, 20-year renewal or celebration.
We're talking about doing
whatever.
Yeah, we are going to do a renewal. We're talking about doing an odd number just because we don't like the flow in patterns like that. We like to step out the box. We probably do like a 13th or an 11th or some shit like that.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah, so then we can have a nice party and we can actually invite our people and do it our way. Because there was a lot of influence on our wedding on both sides.
And keep my damn mother-in-law off the damn DJ's table.
Yes.
She guess those are the perks of her having her nephew as the damn DJ. So
hey, if I got my nephew DJing my daughter's wedding, if I ain't co-signing that shit, it ain't happening.
Right.
My poor child.
What? Oh, hell no. We ain't playing that shit. Put some of that on.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Well, anyway, y'all, go ahead.
No, that's it. I was just gonna say, but this has been beautiful.
It has.
I'm grateful to hear both of your stories.
Yes.
And for y'all to share. That was nice.
Yeah. So we will talk to everybody next week. We hope you enjoyed the first episode. Next up, we'll delve into a different topic. We'll delve into a different topic every week. So get used to the voices. Get used to our. We got 6 opinionated people here, so get used to it. We hope we're bringing y'all that heat every week, and we will talk to you next week on One Eye Shut. Have a good night.
All right.
Good night, y'all.
Good night, y'all.
Good night.